Welcome, everybody, to the Squatchers Lounge podcast. We're back after a week off. We're going to push through this one tonight. It's been an interesting day, that is for sure. But tonight we're going to talk about the Erikson Project because I need a break from all this crazy, weird stuff going on in the world. And we want to talk Bigfoot. So let's do something that distracts from the rest of that crazy crap for the rest of the night. So I'm here, you're there. That's going to make this whole thing fantastic. And that's right. I am your host of this mess, the Reverend Jeff Kelly. Hello, everybody. Yeah, that's right. You see that back there? That there. That back there. No, that back there over there. That bag there. Yeah. Aaron and Mary know what that bag is. Yeah, we're putting up the Maxi Memorial in the backyard as I'm building my garden. Yeah, the garden is growing. Already grown like 6 or 7 inches in the last 2 days. It's just fantastic. So, wow, the Erikson Project. Yeah, let's take a look at that intro picture again. The sleeping Bigfoot, the sleeping Almasty, the Carpet Squatch, as we like to call it. What was, is, and could have been the greatest Bigfoot discovery of all times? Greater than the Patterson-Gimlin Bigfoot film. Greater than all of the track casts we have out there. Was promised the Erikson Project, and Adrian Erikson was the man who was going to deliver that to us. And boy, did everybody just throw their eggs all in that basket. It was very, 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 very strange. Let's see here. Now, I do not own the copyrights to this video. This video is owned by property of the Erikson Project. If any of you guys listened to Cliff and Bobo, I was talking to Jonathan Sasquatch earlier this evening. He was saying that they had a person on from the Erikson Project here recently, and they were talking about having thermal video and night vision video of these Bigfoots coming up and wanting to eat from their hands and wanting food and this and that. Now, of course, Cliff and Bobo said that they've seen the video and that, they agreed that, well, it's not the worst video in the world. I went scouring the internet a little bit this afternoon and I found this gem. And now that we have a decent machine that will actually screen this sucker, let's give it a play. Fair usage for commentary use only. I do not own the images you are about to see. So, here we have it. North Texas organization exclusive video to prove Bigfoot exists. There's Matilda the Bigfoot. Yes, Chewbacca's sister, Matilda. There's the Carpet Squatch. Yeah, it's breathing. Oh my God, it's breathing. Yeah. Oh, here's some night vision, the video. I hope this isn't what Cliff and Bobo were talking about on Bigfoot and Beyond the other night. Because, this is horrible crap. That's really the best of what they have to offer. I kind of screened through the rest of it, and that's it. I mean, that is literally like the best supposed high definition video that we have of Matilda the Bigfoot. And when you go through and you look up Matilda the Bigfoot, there's plenty of video. We'll show you what's going on with that. But again, we do not own the copyright to any of this, and we're not monetized anymore. So F them. This is for commentary use only. This was the absolute best footage that the Erikson Project could put forward to us. Now, the Bigfoot Lunch Club, Guy Edwards, August of 2011. Are you kidding me? Almost a decade ago is when this all nonsense started. I did an enhancement photo of what could be laying there in the Carpet Squatch photo. Now, this is the original photo that they out of the video capture out of the video, and they tell us that that's a Bigfoot who has just nonchalantly laid down on the ground to take a nap. Apparently, Bigfoot don't like to be comfortable at all. They just pick a spot and ass out. And if you look at that picture, versus the superimposement of it, yeah, it would have to really, really be contorted to be laying in that position to be a sleeping Bigfoot. But don't worry, it only breathes once every six times a minute. It only takes 6 breaths a minute. They can verify that the photo is of a young female Bigfoot sleeping on the forest of the Crittenton, Kentucky in 2005. The video was apparently shot by owners of the property in that year, not by the Erikson Project. Therefore, there's the question of whether or not the residents of the house were hoaxing the videos. Exactly. So the story goes like this. Adrian Erikson is a well-to-do, or was a well-to-do Canadian who decided that he was going to answer once and for all the Bigfoot question. And he wanted to buy up and gather up and hire up all the greatest experts in Bigfoot, and any property that's known to have active Bigfoot activity on it, he wanted to visit, if not even purchased, so that he would be able to put his investigators in those locations and have total access to, bringing the Bigfoot conundrum to light. Now, in Crittenton, Kentucky, there was this piece of property where the people had gotten a hold of Erikson after, of course, his release of money, his advertisement of monies for these cases, and told him that they had nightly visits from Sasquatch to come onto their property because they had kind of been leaving sweet foods out, muffins and pancakes and stuff like that. They would leave out on these tables, and the Sasquatch would kind of come in at night and kind of take them. And the woman that was living there at the time, she was kind of befriended by these critters because, she was the one leaving them out there, and they knew that she was the one leaving them out there. So we get introduced to our first nefarious character by the name of Matt Moneymaker. Yeah. I think some of you out there might actually know that name. Matt Moneymaker was hired to put up some surveillance video cameras, some night vision cameras along the property to see if he couldn't capture these Bigfoot creatures coming in and taking the food from these said people. And that is where the infamous pancake video appeared. Now, I tried to find a copy of the pancake video for you, and unfortunately, it's just not out there anymore. I was not able to find an actual video copy of what's called the Bigfoot pancake video. And it's sad because I really wanted to reveal to you what we called then the Tubin Squatch. This video literally looked like a 4-foot midget wearing a turban coming and getting a plate of pancakes off of a table. That's how crappy the night vision video of said experience was. And it was, and behold, that was a juvenile Sasquatch coming in to get pancakes off to the table. So that's what sold Erikson on the project. That, oh my God, Matt Moneymaker says that there's Bigfoot there, so there must be Bigfoot there. Apparently at this time, there is a rumor, and not started being by me, but there was a rumor that Matt Moneymaker was actually seen with a Bigfoot costume in the trunk of his car at the time he was doing the Crittenton, Kentucky investigation. But I digress. It is a rumor. I don't really know. Hey, yeah, and that bitch Carol Baskin didn't kill her husband. Anyhow, sorry, that was a low blow. So this couple finally decides that they're going to sell out to Erikson, and Erikson decides he's going to buy it for an undisclosed amount of money. And Erikson buys out the couple, and the couple moves up the road a few miles, and all of a sudden, after Erikson moves his investigators in there, they had activity for 1 or 2 or maybe 3 different times across the month's period, and then poof, Bigfoot were gone. Well, then the couple contacted Erikson, of course, and decided to tell him that, hey, the Bigfoot have followed us up here to our new property. And, if you want to buy that property, of course, we'll sell that one to you as well as the deed to some oceanfront property in Arizona. Yeah. And Erikson kind of got wise to them at that point. But Before the Bigfoot disappeared, we tried the pancake trick again. Now, what the pancake trick was, they had taken shards of sharp glass and glued them to a plate, and then baited the plate with McDonald's pancakes covered in syrup until the Bigfoot came in and took the pancakes off the plate and obviously cut themselves, leaving blood evidence behind on the plate for discovery use later. Well, I would love to tell you what the results of that blood evidence discovery was, but it's wrapped up in next week's subject called the Ketchum debacle, the DNA of Bigfoot at large. So we'll talk about more about the blood from the pancake debacle come next week when we talk about the Ketchum Project. But back to the Bigfoot footage. Now, everywhere was talking about it. Christian Science, Monitors, Virginia TV, ABC, CBS, they all had a line for it. But they were all, of course, skeptical for one reason or another when it really came down to what was going on with the Bigfoot in this particular project. So here's where we're at. Erikson has bought the Crittenton, Kentucky project, and now the activity there has pretty much ceased. The couple has offered to sell them the new property where the Bigfoot activity has increased. And Erikson basically has turned them down. Matt Moneymaker's involvement comes in with the pancake video and the turban, the little turban Bigfoot eating pancakes off the table, and they gave the blood evidence to Melba Ketchum to run in the DNA study. Wow. It's just getting so messy already. Who can really know for sure? You know what I know for sure? It is time for a quasi theory from our quasi scientist. Mr. Dean Cooper had sent me this one personally. So let's take a listen. And now, quasi theories from a quasi scientist with your host, Dean Cooper.
Does anyone really know what time it is? Night before last, when I was trying to come up with a topic for a quasi-theory for last night's show, I whined in a message to the Reverend Jeff that I was drawing a blank on said topic. He suggested doing one on time travel. I replied that I didn't believe in time. This despite the evidence of my hair turning white. He then gave me time to come up with a topic by moving the show to Thursday night, although it was not moved simply to accommodate me. Why do I not believe in time? It's because whenever I look, it's always now. I think we think time is real only because we look at time through the wrong end of the telescope of consciousness, so to speak metaphysically. Physics says the universe has 4 sensible dimensions: up and down, sideways, front and behind, and time. The number of necessary dimensions to account for everything below the atomic level are open to some debate, but 10 or 11 are broadly agreed on. But the now doesn't really show up as one of them, as far as I can tell, but it is there as an assumption. The old metaphysics of the ancient world took the now as the eternal basis for everything else. I will briefly discuss the Hindu version of this, 1, because I consider myself a Hindu philosophically, and 2, because they are still alive and can explain it. I will leave the Sanskrit terms out of it. What do I mean by the eternal now? It is that in which the past, present, and future appear to occur. It is that in which all individual discrete things exist. It is consciousness itself before the objective universe pops up. It is the ocean of all consciousness, unconditioned, pure beingness. There is no time as such. Time is a limitation that consciousness imposes on itself, so that limited creation can appear. There are 5 of these self-imposed limitations. They are time, space, limited power, limited knowledge, and desire. Desire for limited objectified experience. These 5 limitations make an infinite number of limited beings within the ocean of all consciousness. Beings which include all the gods and goddesses, all the universes, galaxies, planets, us, all there is, has been, and will be, anything which is perceived as an individual object, is the result of those 5 limitations. The 5 limitations make us look through the wrong end of the telescope of our consciousness. They are the telescope of our consciousness. Reverse the telescope and you begin to see the now. The now is very quasi. Squatches know all of this, of course, which is why you must habituate them and learn to use those portals and mind speak with them. The ancient aliens taught them everything. This has been Dean Cooper, quasi-scientist, enlightening you with my quasi-theory of the week. You may read the text of this on my blog at bydean.com. That's BHAIDIN.com.
That's right. Bydean.com. I got to turn that off of my ears. I can't stand to hear my own echo in my ears. All right. Yes, sir. Does anybody actually know what time it is? I don't know. I know we go around this world every 24 hours or so, and that makes a day. We're right back at it here. Let's say hello to all the great fans that are hanging out on the show tonight. There is Miss Bella Allegria. Hello. I am glad you are with us tonight. And there's Dean Cooper himself. That's right. He's out there swinging a tool around, so you people be careful. There's Mr. Kid. Sorry, got a little bit all over my face there. Hey, if y'all believe in a deity or several deities or just believe in karma, send some out for Don. Don Rife, the Viking man's got some health issues, and we're all going to try and give him as much good karma as we can, along with the rest of you people. Pray for Bella and everybody else. It seems I attract you all, but I love you, and I don't want you to go anywhere. Life is how wonderful life is while you're in the world. That's right. I've been listening to a lot of Elton lately. Shane Barber's in the house. Hello, Mr. Shane Barber. Claudio Tonin. Hello there, Claudio. Glad you are here tonight. Well, there's Mr. Aaron Duncan. That's a hard camping man. 4 days in the rain. Not one single complaint. Smile on his face the whole time. Love that guy. We are still going to Pi August 5th through the 9th. So if you people want to get on board, get on board. I still got some open spaces. It's closing in, though. We're closing up. We're getting close to 10. All right, moving on up here. Obsidian Radio's in the house tonight. Hello there. All right, Mr. Fang. 333. Hello there, sir. Glad you are with us. Rod Dupree. He's always in the place to be. That's right. There's the man. And then Cameron Young. That's right. They're a Great White North comedian. Sasquatch investigator. Hello there. Sometimes he can be a comedian. Karen Rob's in the house with us as well. Give Natalie Smith our prayers. She's always fighting the good battle. That is for sure. Dave Jackson as well. Good grief. Everybody in here seems to have health issues. I swear to God. But I love you, and I just don't want it to go away. That is for sure. Let's see here. Taylor Harkins. Hello there. Glad you are with us. Moving down the list here a little bit. Oh, well, I'm glad you love my show, Taylor. I'm glad you are here with us. 8 years and running. I was just planning season 9 tonight, right before I came on the air. Jeremy Crotio. Hello there, Jeremy. Glad you were with us. I bet you that was a pain in the ass to get teachers to pronounce right. Jerry Crouchio. Whatever. Jeremy C., are you here? Sorry, man. I ain't making fun of you. I'm just making fun of them being dumbasses. All right, moving right down the list here. Okay, that looks like I've gotten to the Brian McSurdy. Hello there, Brian McSurdy. Give a shout out to my boy Sean. I'm sure he is looking at it. He's coming out for the camp out. At least he is trying really, really hard. That is for sure. So with that, I want to say glad everybody is in, and let's see what's next on the list of stuff to do with the Erikson Project. That's right. Oh, God, are you kidding me? Virginia TV anchors absolutely lost it after they released the videos of the Erikson Project there. This is more video of the Carpet Squatch. I don't get it. I mean, I had Doug on, and we did this before, the Erikson prod, not so long ago. I don't know, season 4 or so. Probably. It's like 4 years ago. It just, I don't know what to think of this Carpet Squatch thing. It's usually bad. It's not an animal laying there. If there was an animal laying there, it would look like an animal laying there. That looks like somebody laying under a piece of fun fur, balled up in a position to look like they're laying under a piece of fun fur and holding their breath long enough to breathe. I mean, there's no shape to it. There's no shine to it. There's no sheen to it. There's nothing that says animal when it comes to that type of thing. I don't know. I really don't know where to go with the Carpet Squatch any further than that. Let's take a look at the Matilda pictures here now for a moment. Well, that didn't work out anywhere near like I wanted it to. And we hit the images for Matilda the Bigfoot. And, these were the first images that we were given of Matilda the Bigfoot that were pulled directly out of the quote unquote high def video that went along with it. I mean, it's just, how can you not laugh at a Chewbacca mask that's been altered to look like something that it's not? I mean, it's so obvious that it was a Chewbacca mask to start with, and not necessarily the rubber one as they've got it pictured here. How bad is that? That's nearly identical. Here we go. The Ketchum DNA study, the absolute fraud that went along with it. Robert Lindsay, I'll give him a little bit of a shout out for a minute. Oh boy, they got the Hall of friggin' Records going on here. This sample 26. We'll be talking about all of this next week. This is from the Squatch Detective site from Steve Coles. There's a huge record of all that went on there. But I mean, if this isn't the exact mask that they used, it was anyhow. I'll let you. As MK Davis says, I'll let you make up your own mind. Now, the claims that Dr. Bendernagle had actually been out there on site and seen the Matilda Bigfoot himself was at the end, very near the end of his life before he was actually diagnosed with cancer. He was already elderly, already on medication, and from the claims, he was able to see it from the shoulders and up from 100 yards away. Now, I don't know about you, but if I'm sitting in one end zone, I really can't even tell what color the guy is sitting at the opposite end of the end zone. Even if we were the only two people in the stadium, I could just see that there's a person there. That would be about the only thing I'd be able to see, even with the decent vision, the corrected vision that I have. So through the woods and on somebody's property at 100-yard distance, from what I remember, the claim is she stepped out from the wood line, peeked out from behind the bushes just long enough for Dr. Bendernagle to see her, and then she disappeared once again. By the time we walked down there, she was long gone. It's at some point you have to start to wonder why it is that people would believe that this particular image looks like a Bigfoot at all. I mean, have you never seen Star Wars? I mean, if you've never seen Star Wars, then maybe I could understand it. But just trying to see if I can find the exact. There was one that actually showed the nose and the teeth and a bunch of other things, and now I just can't seem to find it. but it was a direct outline of it. Anyhow, if you go out here and you look at a lot of the if you go out here and you look at a lot of the Facebook woo pages, I guess, they're still in the big support of the Erikson Project. Now, this is way back from 2011 when all of a sudden they were starting to bring all this stuff forward. Now, this was a drawing of the supposed Matilda the Bigfoot. Now, notice that this particular drawing has a human nose, not a wet dog nose like the Chewbacca mask that we just saw. We look at the black nose that's on this thing, much, very, very much canine like. We look at the picture that was drawn that was giving us a preview of it, was definitely not. This was supposed to be a young juvenile Matilda the Bigfoot with her pouty, full lips and big human nose. If you try to follow the link that they have there for the quest for Sasquatch.com, well, unfortunately, they seem to exist anymore. That site can't be reached. It just doesn't seem to exist anymore. Well, if they had the most HD and the greatest videos and evidence and blood evidence of Sasquatch, you'd think that this would be like the #1 epicenter for people to visit on the internet. It certainly wouldn't be an empty site. So after the 5-year search for Bigfoot, the most extensive of its kind, they found the Yeti yet. Well, they had a big old press conference. High-def Bigfoot video never before seen. 2 principal speakers, of course, the cat veterinarian and quote-unquote geneticists, and Adrian Erikson, who spent a lot of money in 5 years trying to document the existence of Bigfoot. Unfortunately, the DNA claims that came out with the Erikson Project, were totally smeared in what went on with her main subject study, which was the Sierra kill site meat, which is one of the pieces of DNA center points that she claims to have a full genome of the animal, and it's 100% human female with some kind of unknown ape as its father component, and it's a hybrid human at this point. And we'll talk a lot next week about how stupid of a comment that really, really is. I mean, it is so absurd of a comment. You'd think that a geneticist would not make it. They would know better. And we'll talk a whole lot more about that next week. That is for sure. So that's going to be it for this edition of the Squatchers Lounge podcast. I do have a real Bigfoot encounter for you tonight. Bigfoot campfire story, if you like the Smoky Mountain encounter. I do appreciate every single one of you guys being out there tonight. I just it's one of those times where we're just going to be on our best behavior and see if we can't all come together and get with it. So with that, everybody, I love you guys. I'm glad you're here. We'll see you next week, and may the Squatch be with you. Welcome to another edition of Real Bigfoot Encounters with Reverend Jeff. This story comes to us from deep within the Smoky Mountains of Tennessee. On a crisp fall evening, on an encounter with a hairy giant changed one man's life forever. Let's hear his story. I've been an outdoor person my entire life. Since I was a kid growing up in the hills, I've spent an entire summer in the woods, sometimes weeks at a time, hunting, fishing, and just camping out. I decided to hike up the mountain a bit further than usual to get closer to a waterfall, as I heard the fishing was much better up there. I landed at the spot about 10 in the morning, set up a tent, and got my fishing gear out to start fishing. Throughout the day, the fishing was hot and cold, but as the night approached, it seemed to really slow down. So I grabbed up my fish and I headed back to make a fire. I had just gotten the fish set up to cook when I heard something down by the creek. It was an odd sound, like something splashing in the water. I grabbed up my big flashlight and I headed down to the water's edge. As I approached the creek, I noticed a dark figure kind of hunched over. It was near the water's edge of the pool, the waterfall. At first, I thought it was a bear grabbing a quick meal, until I noticed it had a large branch in its hand. Just about then, the creature stood up to full height, about 7 foot tall, and it raised up the large branch above its head and then came heaving down towards the water, letting the branch splash into the water. Just a moment later, I noticed the creature reach down into the water and toss a fish up onto the bank. I guess it was fishing. I was amazed standing there in the presence of this giant creature. It was peaceful looking, almost like a person, but it was covered in thick hair from head to toe. It was longer on the head and chest, but thinning near the V-shaped waist. It was powerfully built with really long arms and very prominent brow. Its eyes were large and spread apart on the face, and the nose seemed to be somewhere between man and ape. Everyone has heard stories of Sasquatch, but they never believe it. But standing right in front of my eyes was this giant creature. I stood and watched as it turned around and gathered up the fish laying on the ground, stacking them in one hand and making its way back into the woods, kind of walking on 3 limbs. It used its free hand to walk off in the woods. It looked like it was injured. A leg, maybe, was dragging it to the right, just slightly behind it. I headed back to camp, kind of really freaked out about the sighting, but it was far too late to hike out now. There was no choice but to stay put and head out at first light. I sat vigilant by the fire, and was hearing strange calls coming from the darkness of the creek. It almost seemed pitiful, like a mother animal calling out a lost pup. This went on about every 90 minutes throughout the night, but much less frequent as the dawn approached, and the silence as the sun rose on the mountain. I packed up my gear as the light became enough to see. Within an hour of sunrise, I was ready to get back to the road. I hiked downstream, and I found a newly fallen tree crossing the creek to the other side. Strange, as I hadn't heard a tree fall during the night. I set down my gear and crossed the tree to check out the area on the other side, and when I reached it, I noticed large, unshoed footprints all around the base of the tree, some bigger than others, almost as if a family was walking around with no shoes on, but the prints were giant. Just then I heard a loud knock come from behind me. I quickly turned and saw something large move into the shadows of the trees. I decided my curiosity wasn't going to make a cat out of me, and I recrossed the creek to my gear. I quickly gathered up my gear and I made my way down the creek. The whole time I felt as though I was being watched and followed. I finally reached a clearing to the trail where I had parked my Jeep. While crossing the field, 3 more knocks rang out from the tree line I had just exited, making me pick up the pace thinking they were still coming for me. I tossed my gear into the Jeep, fired it up, and made haste with my exit from the area. To this day, I still fish that area, but never do I venture that far upstream. I figure if those creatures want that area, it's fine with me. Anonymous. You have to ask, what does an 800-pound Sasquatch have for dinner? Well, anything it wants. For this man, this trip was something he'll never forget. For me, it was yet another real Bigfoot encounter. Thanks for watching. I'm Reverend Jeff, and may the Squatch be with you.